Okay, so pulling out now, heading to work. I got here a few minutes earlier than I did last time, so hopefully that'll make some sort of a difference when it comes to getting to work. But anyways, another Nofap update video. It's day 150, which I guess makes this like 5 months. Not really in sort of the mindset to be making a 5 months, looking back sort of video, but maybe I will later, maybe after the quiz today. We'll see. But yeah, I'm sure you probably can't really see my face right now because I don't have any light turned on. It's showing up as 5:38 on my clock on my dashboard or my car, but obviously, because of daylight savings time, it's actually 6:38. So yeah, why there's not that much light out. It's an hour earlier than would have been otherwise, but anywho, so yesterday I got a problem set done at work, and then I got another one done at home. And I did swing by the Walmart. I did get a filing, a folder, and I got a calendar. And I wrote down all the stuff that's, for like the remainder of the semester, all the different dates when things are due. So I feel like I got a little better bearing on things. Like I said, even with my big screw up on Sunday night, all hope is not lost. If I was sitting here after the midterm and I had messed it up, then yeah, I'd be like, okay, I'm down and out, but it's not at that point yet. We'll just see how the quiz goes this evening. I think I said last time, he's basically letting us take it during any 25 to, I think it's more like 35-minute block after class up until midnight. So it takes a little bit of pressure off, because like I said last time, I had to step out of work. I had spotty internet. There were logistics that kind of added an extra level of sort of, for lack of a better way of putting it, sort of pressure to the situation, which for a lot of us didn't help, especially since it was like the first quiz and you don't really know what format it's exactly going to be in. And it was one of those questions where if you saw it coming, if you knew okay, he's going to make it on this specific topic, or it's going to be one of these kinds of questions, yeah, it wouldn't be that complicated or difficult. But I'm hoping things aren't that bad this time around, for obvious reasons. I did a quick calculation the other night. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Hypothetically, if I did, let's say, ace the quiz, it would bring my grade up by about 3%. My overall grade, as things stand right now, and I'd be back in the B range. I'm supposed to be B minus, and I'm hoping these folks understand that there's cars trying to merge. And what the fuck is this jackass doing? You won't fucking A. Pardon me, sorry. I literally signaled, and this guy keeps going. Anyways, maybe I was at fault. I don't know. Maybe that's a side effect of Nofap. I'm getting more aggressive, more easily ticked off. Yeah, it's not a family-friendly channel per se. I wouldn't say I talk about stuff that's considered per se disgusting or filthy, but like if you're doing anything on Nofap, like you're automatically in that territory. Like you're not talking about it, but you're talking about it, sort of thing. But anyways, pardon the moment of any road rage or road angst there. But I got my day kind of cut out for me. Got stuff assigned to do at work, and I think I'm working with the girl and this other guy. So I'm gonna try not to be quote unquote distracted by how attractive I find her. It's one of those things that I sort of had to learn in this life that when you're working with women, especially attractive women, you gotta when you're working with them or you're just interacting with them, you gotta try and not be distracted by their beauty, which is kind of a problem for a lot of us guys, especially when you're starting out in life. You get caught up in how attractive the girl is, and you don't kind of see her as a person, which I'm not talking about objectification here. I'm just saying it gets in the way of you sort of interacting with people, and even if you wanted to look at it from a perspective of just what's best for you, because this girl, she may be super attractive, but she's a coworker, and if it wasn't for gender differences, she would just be some dude. And if I don't know, if I was assigned to work on something with this person and they showed up, I don't know, half an hour late, or they were just not cognizant of what they were doing, or they're giving me attitude or whatever, it wouldn't matter, right? It wouldn't matter what gender they were. It'd be man, having problems with this person, that sort of thing. But then you toss in the mix oh, this girl, she's a girl, and she's so cute or whatever, or she's so hot, dude. And it's sort of that stuff will oftentimes lead guys to not only being distracted, but letting things slide that maybe they shouldn't slide. And if it gets to the point where you finally step up and go, okay, I'm not taking this sort of misbehavior or this kind of garbage or whatever, not really knowing how to express yourself without getting super mad, because of course you probably let it slide for a long time, and now you're at this point you're I don't care if she's hot, she's all these things, or she's done all this stuff or whatever. And it's sort of you don't want to be letting yourself get to that point to begin with. So don't get distracted by her beauty. Focus more on your work and what really matters, because honestly I'm not here to get a girlfriend. It would be great if I did. Maybe not. I don't know. I used to be so concerned about getting some girlfriend that I was willing to put up with so much, drama and added BS, so to speak. But like I said, I'm not here to get a girlfriend. I'm here to make money. I'm here to make that quote unquote pivot in terms of my career, that sort of thing. I'm here to survive. I'm here to survive and potentially thrive. And to that end, will you let me in? Oh shoot! I can't even get. I'm not allowed. Let me in. Okay, cool. Letting me in. I mean, that car was letting me in, but it was sort of there were a couple of cars up here where it was okay, they're all braking or slamming on their brakes, and I just sort of backed myself up a bit, in terms of speed, so I could slide into the other lane. But let me see. Yeah, it's sort of anyways, getting back on topic. Being distracted by the fact that I'm driving here on the freeway, and it's St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, it's like sort of having to remind yourself of what your purpose is for like being in this place. Like, I'm sure I probably would have done a heck of a lot better in undergrad if I wouldn't have just barely scraped by, if I'd been a bit more focused on my purpose. I mean, I tried to. I made enough of an effort to be focused on that. That's why I did graduate, but I would have done a lot better. I'd probably already be in grad school, or at least I wouldn't have as many classes to take. And maybe that would have been for better or for worse. I don't know as of yet. Because originally I was going to try to go materials engineering, and that was kind of predicated on me, I guess, working full time, or going full time at the internship. Converting over from a part-time intern to a full-time engineer, and that didn't happen. And then, ironically enough, I started looking. I was first looking at that point in time into the electronics, industries. All the stuff that falls under electronics. In particular, like thin film, flexible electronics, and then when it turned out that place was kind of, that industry was kind of closed off, requirements were way too high, I started pivoting more towards biotechnology and pharmaceuticals, and then I got into biotech. And the irony is, of course, that this is all right before COVID hit, and I ended up being in the right industry at the right time, because for obvious reasons, like biotech and pharmaceuticals just kind of like took off as a result of that sort of response to that crisis. So maybe like that worked out for the better, because then I was able to not only work and make money and gain relevant experience, but I was able to take care of a lot of debts. I was able to actually start really working on that, as opposed to being like struggling and looking for work, looking for money. Not sure if my job was going to be axed in the middle of a pandemic, that sort of thing. I didn't have to deal with that. I just put in more hours and got more money and took care of things. So maybe even if I had been able to sort of go with that original plan, which technically speaking, if you go back several years, was not my original plan. I was kind of reacting to things insofar as like it's kind of like the first and only internship I was able to get was in electronics, as opposed to what my original plan was to go into like biotech. But then I was able to sort of pivot back towards that. But anyways, it's sort of like reflecting on that, reminding myself of like what my purpose is, why I'm here, and why as much as it is nice to work with a cute girl and to get some positive attention from her, even if it doesn't lead to anything, it's nice. It's nice if, like, I don't know, even with my weight gain, which obviously, like I've talked about a lot. Probably need to lose about 30 to 40 pounds in order to not only get back into the whole healthy BMI range, but to get to like my ideal weight, where I'd be at a point where I could easily like get that 6-pack or whatever. It'd be nice if I was like that guy at work that like, this girl I thought was cute thought that I was attractive or cute or whatever, but it's not a prerequisite, it's not a requirement, and given the nature of things, like it can lead to problems. So it's sort of like, okay, stay on point, stay on target, especially when on top of work I'm also taking this class and I'm having issues with it. It's sort of like the least of my problems is whether or not some girl likes me, or whether or not she's still single or looking for somebody, or she's with this guy or whatever. It's sort of like that really doesn't matter as much. Fortunately, from what I can tell, she doesn't come off as being like the one-itis girl. Because that girl was like really like obsessed with having every guy in the freaking department, you know, either like being her air quotes friend, aka her tool, or else just basically being some like beta orbiter, you know, slavishly you know, drooling all over her, like, you know, oh, if I could just get this girl, if I could, you know, I'll do anything for you, even beyond just the, you know, like, sort of like second or third hand friend, but like, you know, being like in her inner circle, orbiting around her, almost like, you know, sort of almost like being like part of her harem, essentially. Like, I guess having every guy in the harem was sort of what her aim was, and you know, there'd be like sort of like degrees or levels of being in her harem. Like being a second or third hand friend would be like out in the like sort of the second or third ring of being the harem, or maybe be the third or the fourth, you know, and the second ring was kind of being sort of like her backup boyfriend, you know. And first ring would be like obviously the guy she like spent the most time with, or sort of her main squeeze, you know. She might not quantify it like that or label it like that, but essentially that's kind of like what she was obsessed with. And if you either wanted to be in that first ring and you weren't willing to, you know, play you know, second or third or fourth fiddle to all these other guys, or you just didn't want to be part of the bloody system to begin with because you figured what it was, and it was all like a bunch of, you know, BS to you, because it was all about like, you know, her need for validation and attention, and didn't matter if it was wasting your time or you know, damaging your sanity or your grades or your potential, you know, for graduating or getting a decent job, making a decent living, not having to stress about money or, you know, survival or whatever, or possibly going on to grad school, etc. You know, if it was detrimental to you and you realized it was, and you didn't want to be a part of that because you didn't want to have that kind of, you know, effect on your life, it was like, you know, you were public enemy number one. And from what I can tell, it does not seem like it is with this girl. Maybe it's because, I don't know, it sounds like she comes from an intact family and she like lives with her parents, and she has, you know, it sounds like a good relationship with her father. So maybe she gets that kind of attention of, you know, just like having dad there to, you know, talk with and hang out with and feel validated by, just by, you know, having him around, sort of being like the father figure in a natural, healthy, and functional sense, that she doesn't sort of feel that need to get, you know, a bunch of guys wrapped around her finger, so to speak. Which is actually, that really is the case. That's actually kind of nice to have around, at least that give you perspective, you know. Like, hey, this is the way a girl is kind of supposed to be if she's, you know, functional and healthy. And okay, you know, you can kind of use this as sort of a yardstick to measure others by. Not saying that she's a unicorn, you know, because even girls who come from those backgrounds, like, they still can, you know, they can go and pull a complete 180 if they feel that, I don't know, like, they're at that point in their life where it's sort of their last, you know, they got their last sort of like lottery ticket, or so to speak, or their last, you know, I don't know, paycheck, or their last $100 bill. I'm being, you know, metaphorical, but, you know, their last chance at that sort of making up for missing out, so to speak, you know. And you've had, you know, folks like Rollo Tomasi talk about this. I know he did like a episode on his podcast talking about this one example of this woman who, I think she was like a pastor at some church. I don't know which church it was. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be so surprising to someone like from that church maybe has left the church because of reasons like this, they go like, well, obviously this was going to happen, or that's the norm. You just don't hear people talking about it. But she apparently went from being like a pastor, a wife, with I think it was like 3 kids. Looked like the ideal tradcon family, traditional conservative family. And I don't mean conservative in terms of politics. I just mean like in terms of like what people would consider values, conventional values. And she like went overnight from doing that to becoming like a stripper on OnlyFans. And I'm sure like it devastated her ex-husband and the kids and her family and the community. But it was like, it's an example. It's an example of like, you can't go, okay, that this woman's a unicorn, she checks off all these boxes, etc., etc. But at the same time, I do feel there are enough women out there who at least exhibit what you might consider like healthy or like functional ways of being, at least for the time being. It's kind of like you can be healthy and functional, but something can happen and you can basically get sick, or you can become dysfunctional. Something can happen that can change your life or so. And depending on how people react to it, they can go one way or another. And that goes for guys as well as as gals. It's not necessarily a gender thing, but maybe it manifests differently. But anyways, like I said, I got stuff to do today. Got that quiz later on. And I'm just going in to work, keeping cognizant of like why I'm here, my purposes. And I am like 3 or 4 miles away from the exit. So I guess I'm like making like decent time. But did I have some weird dream last night? I think I might have. Yeah, I was listening to another one of those stories from one of those YouTube channels where they do like it's like people writing in horror stories and the guy reads it. And I didn't listen to the full thing, but it was like a park ranger sort of scary story where like he caught something on his trail cam, and I think it was one of the ones where he turned out to be the monster, and he was sort of like hallucinating or so. But I fell asleep after listening to a bit of that, and I was trying to listen to some of those binaural beats for sleep. But one thing that annoys me about the music for those that I put on there is like it's always the kind of like tune or tone of music that it's like it makes me think about the past, in particular like my ex-girlfriend. And given that I like idolized her, just about as much as the one-itis girl. Like it was sort of like I had almost like 2 cases of one-itis competing with each other. But anytime like I'll think about that, and what I believe things were gonna be between her and myself, and etc., etc., like it gets me really sad. And I had to turn off the whole binaural beats stuff because it was sort of put me into that state of mind. I didn't want to have a dream about that and then get all like depresso and wake up like that. So I ended up having like a dream based off of the scary story. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I ended up eating a bunch of food, which it's not good, especially given that I've gone on about trying to lose weight and trying to figure out like where I got my way forward towards that goal. And then like I drank a bunch of sparkling water, so that's like why I got it today. I was like, okay, either I can just head to work directly and you guys use the restroom there, just get that done now. And part of the reason why I got out to the car a little later than I would have otherwise, that and I kind of had a tough time getting to sleep last night. Some of it was inevitably due to the fact that I consumed some coffee. Not the entire cup, luckily, but that was part of it. But I think a lot of my problem with getting to sleep is that I'm I think I kind of conditioned towards or predisposed towards just like sitting there overthinking things. Like even if I didn't have any caffeine in my system, or it was like, metabolized on out, I would still be like laying there like just thinking about stuff, even things that happened years ago, just because like it's almost like, as much as it sucks to stew in one's emotions, like I get almost like something out of making myself miserable, which is kind of dumb. It's called being miserable for a reason. It's not fun, but I still seem to find ways to do that to myself. It's enough light now. So 4 minutes late, not as bad as yesterday. I think it was 10 minutes, which is still being late. I don't like it, but I'm hoping I can, once I get the quiz done tonight, I can just go to bed. But we'll just see about that. I mean, I need to be getting to bed a lot earlier, and that probably means being in bed by 9:30, so I can spend the next hour or so unwinding. Because even if I like sleep till 5:30 or 5:45, or I really push till 6, assuming I can just roll out of bed and head to my car, like given that 7 to 8 hours of sleep, like I need to be knocked out by like 10 or 10:30 or 11 at the latest, and I haven't been doing that, so anywho, so we're gonna roll into work, get things set up, take a look at the schedule. I swear I ordered all the items I needed to for the lab that I think I'll be working in today. Hoping that's the case. So, yeah. Nothing, anything else to say. If I do get around to it, I'll do a 5-month sort of looking back or update video. Yeah, I remember back like it's been about a month since my dad ended up in the hospital. I remember back then I wasn't able to do a sort of 4 months video, just because like all this stuff happened right at the 4-month mark. Seems like that's always the case. Like, every month at the beginning of the month, there's something going down. But anywho, pulling in the parking lot, and I will see you folks around. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.